And I am looks like we just started the broadcast. Okay, let's try again. Hi, it's Linda Kay, and we are live. Um, Welcome back to another exciting episode of Open Roads. Today, joining me is Chris Shahinian. Chris is
Hello.
Chris is an incredible real estate agent in the commercial sector here in the Los Angeles market, and I'm going to be bringing him on now. Hey, Chris, say hi.
How you guys doing today? Thank you, Linda. I
You're
appreciate
very
it.
welcome. You're very welcome. So, the exciting world of commercial real estate. It's easy, isn't it?
No, not easy.
What do you mean? No, you're gonna frighten those that think, oh well, it's just a piece of cake. You just find a building, find a buyer, find a seller, and it's done, right?
Right. No, there's a lot of ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster.
I like roller coaster rides, but if you don't like a roller coaster ride, you probably want something a little bit more stable. And in that instance, would it be real estate at all?
I think real estate is stable, depending on how hard you're working every single day. You got to put in
Right.
the
So
effort.
now that brings me to another question. Chris, how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this since I was 18. I'm 25 now, so
So you've been
it's
doing this for a few years.
yes, definitely actively doing it for six years. I've been in commercial real estate for about 4 years now. Um, and there's a lot of different areas of the business that I started. I started in residential, then I went to more retail and commercial, and then I ended up in multifamily where I really found my success and
So
on the daily.
take me back a little bit farther. You're excited about life. You get out of high school and you go
Right.
jumping into a wild roller coaster career called real estate, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Were you always in real estate?
No, no. So like the last podcast that we did, I was explaining that I started right out of high school. I wanted to make money. I wanted to be independent, and I decided to just take on the role of working for my dad's company, selling marble and granite countertops. Really enjoyed sales, selling the kitchens, and I wanted to do one step, go to the next level and sell the whole entire house rather than just the kitchen. So I
That's
did
cool.
decide, yeah, I decided to get my real estate license, and my dad was supportive, and here I am today.
So, Chris, is there somebody in your industrial space? I see that you're in an industrial office. Is there somebody in your office with you?
Yes, yes, there is.
All right.
It's my desk partner.
All right. Let's ask them to mute themselves so it doesn't sound like you're fidgeting and opening and closing drawers or papers. Can we do that?
Yes, one sec.
All right. So we're going to. That's what happens. If you don't own the space, you share the space. Isn't that right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. So, Chris, um, how did you get going? I mean, what made you decide commercial real estate anyway?
So after doing residential real estate, it's a different dynamic. You're
In what
not
way?
you're not dealing you're not dealing with investors as much. You're more dealing with families, with brothers and sisters, and the color of a room can defer a family from purchasing a property, or like the way a kitchen feels, and the way the living room feels, and the backyard, if the backyard is not big enough. Those are reasons why people might not purchase the property that you're showing them. But with commercial
That
real
might be
estate,
even more true today, wouldn't you say? Especially with people working at home and having to have home offices and trying to figure out how do they, you know, how do they keep the clutter and noise down and the vacuum cleaner from running when you're trying to do a live Facebook?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So so yeah, definitely. It's different with investors, because investors, you show them the return, you show them the numbers, and if the numbers are correct, then they purchase. They don't really care about what's there as long as the numbers are correct,
So
and
tell me
as long as
what's
those, yeah.
important. Tell me what's important to an investor.
What's important to an investor is definitely the return on their investment. I think that's the most important, and how they
Give
can
me an
defer their
example. What does that mean?
taxes. It's like when you look at a property, you look at the cap rate, you look on you look at the cash on cash. How much cash am I putting in, and how much am I like how much of a return am I getting on the cash that I'm putting into this property, this
Woo,
asset that I'm
wow,
purchasing?
there's some big old huge things that we don't, nobody, and I'm going to say probably 96% of our audience has no idea what you just said.
Well, you guys can call me.
It flew off into the open roads. There.
Right, right.
It
Smooth
flew.
sailing.
So let's back up just a little bit.
Right.
So you said that there's a difference between a homeowner and an investor, and that their needs are different, right?
Needs are different. Goals are
Okay.
different. Yeah.
And the rules are different.
And
So
the rules are different.
like for a homeowner, it's got to be, if you've got kids, how safe is it? Can you walk the neighborhood? Can you walk the dog? Can the kids go out and is it going to be a safe enough environment for the kids to thrive and grow in? Is it close to the school? Is it
Right.
close to your church or synagogue? Whatever those needs are, is it walking distance to anything? How close are your amenities? Are those
Exactly.
issues very important to an investor?
You know, I wouldn't say it would stop them from purchasing a property with really good return, really good numbers, but it's also something that they would look into, because it just makes sense. I mean, an investor also has tenants, um, and those tenants are paying a rent. So tenants would be paying a higher rent for an area where there's a better school, it's better, it's more walkable. So I guess it all ties in. It definitely ties in to the value and the return that you're receiving.
Absolutely. And would the amenities in a place where you are renting be uh, be important to the investor?
Yes. The more amenities you have, the higher rent you can ask for. You can rent out your unit. Let's say you have an in-unit washer and dryer. That's easily, it depends on the area, but you can up the rent. Um, if you have hardwood floors and stainless steel appliances and a beautiful kitchen, you're gonna up the rent. You have
Well,
that luxury.
you're not talking about anything different than what people want in a home either, it sounds like. How's that
Yeah.
different?
It's different because, a home has privacy, or, well, apartment buildings have privacy as well, but, people want their own backyard, and apartment buildings will have shared space. And it all depends on, bigger family would prefer their own backyard, and prefer a private space rather than being in an apartment.
Okay, fair enough. So,
Right.
I, what do you think, Chris? You've been doing this for a while. What do you think the biggest reason why agents fail in their career as a real estate agent? And I think that you could, maybe even go wider in a certain application, but just from your observation, you've seen a lot of people come and go. What makes people stay? What makes people go? Why do they fail?
I think the number one reason why real estate agents fail is because they ultimately give up on their own hustle and their own work, their own knowledge and relationship building. Because you're building that knowledge, you're building the relationships every single day, and you have this hustle that you're pushing yourself, you're prospecting, you're finding new clients. And if you do give up on that, then that's where the business will go stale. You'll have nothing in your pipeline, and you'll realize that this is the reason why you're giving up, is because you don't have any business. So you want to get into something else. That's the situation. You want to get into
So,
something where you feel you can make money and be successful.
but isn't it the money that draws you into this business?
It's definitely the money is one reason why it draws you. It's also the open hourly day, which is not really open, because if you're really hustling, you're working 10 times harder than someone who has a 9 to 5.
Isn't
So
that
yeah, it just becomes it becomes a passion thing. If you have that passion for sales and you have the passion for helping like-minded individuals in this business, you really start to enjoy your work, and it becomes more of a hobby and a daily piece of fun, to just go in and find that next deal, find the next successful situation, that win-win situation for your client
Well, you're
and for
using a lot
yourself.
of buzzwords, Chris. Let's just
Yeah.
go a little deeper than that, than a buzzword. A win-win, a lose-lose. I don't have any idea what you mean. So, what would you say? What would you say that a good deal actually looks like? I mean, isn't that like beauty in the eye of the beholder?
Exactly. Definitely. You can compare it to that. A good deal looks different in every investor's eyes and every homeowner's eyes. It's different because it all comes down to what's your goal, what's your plan, what are you looking for, what are you looking for in your investment, and it all comes down to either the price, the location, the amenities, the view. There's so many different things that tie into what a good deal is, and it all comes down to what's your goal, what are you looking for, what's really the thing that makes this the right deal for you.
So you're talking about things that are very specific, like goal. How
Right.
does goal different than a dream?
How is goal different than a dream? That is a good question. How is a goal different from a dream? A goal is,
Okay, that
I
was
guess.
kind of a trick question because I'm going to ask you a different question now because
Okay,
you're
ask
going to
me.
find the answer so much because you're very pragmatic. And I think a lot of people that are watching this are going, he's very cut and dry. He's this, and it works just like that. And
Right.
not everybody works that way, Chris. So let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a set of questions, okay? So it'll be fun.
All right.
Um,
I'm ready. Shoot.
we're going to talk about dreams.
Dreams.
When's the last time you had a dream that you could remember?
Um, a few nights ago, actually, and
Okay.
it was a bad dream.
Okay. Did it have a beginning?
Sometimes dreams don't. You don't. You just remember a certain feeling
Did
rather
it have
than.
a middle?
I think it had a middle.
Did it have an end?
I think waking up was the end.
And that's usually how we'll do it, right? Was it
Yeah.
in color or black and white?
Um, I don't know. I don't know what color it was
How
in.
many people were in it?
There was definitely a lot of people.
Anyone specific that you remember?
Yeah, one of my family members was in the
Okay.
dream.
And so this is the reason why I'm bringing this up, Chris, is because dreams, unlike a goal, are very, very different. Wouldn't you agree?
Right.
A
Yeah, I agree now.
dream
I get it.
a dream can be fluffy and not have a beginning, not have an end. We can't remember the details. We can't. And how can you build a business if you don't have details, right?
Exactly. You
And
need
that's
details.
why goals are important. So the difference between, I'm sorry, I tricked you, Chris, because I kind of set you up and I didn't tell you I was going to do that, but
You're
you
always
went
doing
along
that.
with the ride. So thank you.
No
um,
problem.
that
Yeah.
it's really important that you set goals. So
Right.
tell me how you set goals.
Setting goals. So I think a daily goal for me is usually I want to reach out to 25 different property owners. That's like a daily goal for me, at least 25. And that takes a lot of work on my end. I have to reach out to the owner, which they usually have anywhere from 5 to 10 numbers, reaching out to their siblings as well if the owner doesn't pick up and they have 5 to 10 numbers.
Okay, we're getting
So
down into the minutia. Okay, but the overall and the overriding goal that you have is on a daily
yeah,
basis, and so
a
you
daily
push yourself.
basis.
Some people will not push themselves as hard as you push yourself, and
Exactly.
I will tell you that you work hard, but would you work harder with a coach that said you need to do this and this and this and that and that?
For sure. Yeah, 100% having a coach, having a mentor there pushing you and on top of you will help you work harder.
Well,
no
most
doubt.
people will bristle about somebody being on top of them and telling them what to do. That sounds very parental, but you still have a choice, don't you?
Of course, you have a choice, yes, and that's kind of like the good thing about this business is because you really are working and you're your own boss. You don't really have a boss, but you have someone who cares about you, who loves you, and wants you to be successful. And and if you want success for yourself, they end up being that person that will open that door for you and help you and push you.
Are there days that you just go, hit the clock and go, yeah, don't get up, sleep a little longer?
Yeah, there's definitely those days for
How do
sure.
you work past that? You got to get up. You got to
You
get
gotta
going. It's a
you
hustle. How
gotta
do you keep yourself doing that?
you really gotta think about the why. The why. Why am I trying to be the best in this business? Why? Like find your why. I think my why is I have goals like that, like I've said, like I have these goals that I want to like achieve, and then I want to get to my next level in the business. So
So,
if I am, yeah,
so
go ahead.
then you're talking about another goal. So you can't just have one set of goals. You have to have multiple sets of goals. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, multiple sets. I think I see it as levels. There's certain levels that you get in your business where you get to this level of confidence, this level of clarity, where you feel you feel like you can do something a little bit more easier than before, and then you get to that next level, and then you see like you're kind of it's like dreaming and then having that goal. You dream like, hey, I want to be this way. I see myself this way, and then you get to that next level, and then from there you're now here in this used to be dream, which is now reality, and you're getting to that next brink of the ladder. You're going up the ladder.
So did you get there without any practice?
No, it takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of failure. Really, you learn the most from your failures and from your mistakes and from people getting mad at you and people like that. That's what really teaches you and shapes you, and you get shaped up and you become sharp as a pencil.
So
And you,
and that's critical, right? I mean, how else will you learn? Is there one part of the business that you absolutely hate?
that's a good question. The parts of the business that I absolutely hate, I've figured out how to get around them. That's
So,
the answer to
okay,
my
and
question.
and
I can
and
explain to you.
that's important. So I want you to explain that because there are parts of businesses that nobody likes. I don't care what
Right,
business you're in, whether you're a doctor, a dentist, a candlestick maker, or a real estate agent. There are simply
right,
going to be days, one, that you don't want to get up and go. Two, you don't like the people you're working with and you still have to go. Three, there are parts of the business that are, just get to be a grind, like that repetitive motion that you have to keep making, that muscle that says keep doing it. And you
right.
have found a way to get past that. So share with our audience what it is and how you broke through that. And how did you
Of
find it?
course. Well, I think one thing that I did, you start to hate it because you're doing it so much. It's dialing the phone and like finding the numbers for the owners, and you have to dial the phone and you have to hear the five rings. And this sounds so simple and sounds like, oh, what's the big deal of that? But then when you're doing it 200 times, it becomes tiring and you become like, I hate this dial tone and I hate dialing the number. And I found this software where I put in all the numbers uh, before I start my database calling. I set up my database, I find the properties, I find the property owners, I find their siblings, I gather all their numbers, I put them in the software, which is called Mojo Dialer. Found it on Google, and you click start on the software and it starts dialing for you. And all you hear
Wait a minute.
is
Now, how do
hello.
you find all of those phone numbers? I mean, you sound like you just opened up a box, put a bunch of things in, and then
Right,
stirred it up, and whoosh, it pushes out something.
right. I
The
could tell you.
How do you get all of the phone numbers in there?
I could tell you. So I use a website called White Pages. It's a monthly subscription, and first you have to find the property owner's mailing address. You put in their mailing zip. you put in their first name, their middle name, and their last name. If you put it in any other order, it's just not going to work out. You're not going to find their information. I don't know why. It just works that way. So you're going to put the owner name and then the mailing zip, and then you press search. And then from there, you either find the owner name, or you're going to find like 2 people who look similar to that name, or they'll have that name, but the address will be off. And it takes a lot of that. That's also a part where you're searching, you're trying to find the correct owner, you're trying to find the correct number. You click into their name, and then if the mailing address is there under their name, then you got the correct person. And from there, I'll copy paste their whatever 5 to 10 numbers into my Mojo dialer, and then I'll do that another 25 times in a day, and then I'll hit start on my dial session, and boom, there you go. I'm calling them. I'm just waiting for people to say hello, and then I ask them if they're open to selling their property and what their goals
Chris,
are.
You sound like a phone warrior, and you're
Yes.
speaking my language. I love to get on the phone. I am the person that answers the phone at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock when all of the robo dialers are calling. I love to talk to people. Has it always been so simple for you to talk to a prospect?
No. And like the last podcast, we actually left off at me quitting real estate. We left off at that. Do you remember? And I got
do.
into,
We were actually practicing, Chris. So thankfully it didn't go live for your benefit, but just getting you comfortable with what we're talking about. But yeah, but now that you opened up Pandora's box, you are going to have to jump in there and say, did you love it? Did you hate it? Did it make you do it? Because some people just hate the idea of picking up the phone and saying hi. And many other people hate picking up the phone and going, hello, and hearing hi.
Yeah.
So, it can be challenging to get past the hang up. How did you get past the hang ups?
Getting past the hang up. Getting past the hang up, if you're not getting hung up on, you're not making enough calls, is the way I look at it. Or if you're not getting not interested, if you're not getting don't call me ever again, you're not making enough calls, because
don't ever call me again.
Yeah, you got to think about it. Like, out of 25 properties, there's days where I don't even get one person. So you got to, it's a numbers game in that way, in that way of looking at it. It's definitely a numbers game, and getting past the hang up is going to be difficult, but you got to just get one under your belt for the confidence. Once you make,
and is it worth it? Tell me
it's 100% worth it. Yeah,
there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today on Open Roads. Chris, I can't thank you enough to help people give us the hacks on robo dialing, how to get around it, how to get past the hangups and not make it your hang up, but their hang up, so you can decide when you want to hang up. So thank you so much for joining us today. You're
welcome, Linda. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.